So in this video, I'm going to go over the exact process that I use for each one of our e-commerce clients in order to make a supplementary feed so we can optimize the performance of their Google Merchant Center. Now, often the Google Merchant Center is something that's overlooked by people who run e-commerce marketing on Google Ads. And this is because it's a little bit confusing, but honestly, trust me, when you get your head around it, it is the most simple thing possible. You just need to go through that learning phase to get to there. And once you're there, you'll find it really simple. So this is the client we have just onboarded recently, and what we're going to do is create a supplementary feed for them. But I'm going to go over the exact steps that we use at the agency in order to improve the performance and actually create a supplementary feed. So step one, the first thing I want you to do is actually just to review the Diagnostics tab in your Google Merchant Center to see what Google is already telling you need to improve. We need to see what amber warnings we have or what red warnings we have so we can address those in our supplementary feed. So let's do that to start with. So this client actually has one of the best quality Google Merchant Center feeds I've seen in a while. We have no specific issues here. So the next thing we're going to do is actually just go to all products here. And this is what I typically do. I typically filter by clicks because I want to see the most popular product at the top first because it's probably my most important product here. I can't see conversions or conversion value or ROAS. However, I can dictate it by clicks, which is often going to be the highest performing products there. Then the next thing I'm going to do is simply download a file here. And what this is going to do is create a CSV file for which we're going to upload to a Google Sheet. And we're going to use this as our supplementary feed. So now this is downloaded, it's just going to drag it to the side. And I'm going to show you here. So what it actually creates it to, I'm sorry, it wasn't a CSV file, it's a TSV file. And what we're going to do now is upload this to a Google Sheet. So simply just go to Google Sheets, create a new Google Sheet. And in here is where we're going to upload it. So I simply just go to File, Import, then Uploads, Browse. And when we're in here, I always drag my stuff to desktop, and there is our TSV file. And now we just have everything as default here, and press Import Data, and it will upload it to this sheet or another sheet. And there you go. Now we have a huge amount of data here from all of our products. So the next thing we need to do in terms of steps is get rid of the unnecessary columns. Get rid of as much analysis paralysis and unnecessary things as possible. So I'm going to go through. I would typically create the top one as a bold, and then I like to freeze it just so I can easily get around it. And then typically what I like to do, which is a further step down, but we're going to do it now, is use the ID as our anchor point. Because when you upload a supplementary feed, you need to have something as your anchor point, and I typically use this as my ID. So we're going to use that there, and I'm going to freeze one column there. So we now have the top row and column 1 frozen here, so we can look around. Now I already know what I wanted to optimize to this Google Merchant Center feed. In fact, it was only the Google product categories that I wanted to update, because what we have here is a brand that is selling specific apparel for children. As we can see here, they are coats and jackets. However, what we have here is just for clothing, so we can be a little bit more specific. And there's also a few optimizations I wanted to do to the titles, but not a huge amount. But all we're going to do here, because I know those are the ones I want to optimize, I am going to go to get rid of all of these columns. I'm going to be a bit ruthless and get rid of all of these columns, because when you upload a supplementary feed, you can only be displaying the relevant columns. So there we go. So what we have now in terms of our supplementary feed is we have our ID on the left, which is our anchor point. Then we have the first column, which we're going to optimize, and then we have a second column, which we're going to optimize. Now, just like Blue Peter, here is one I made earlier. So we're going to get rid of this because I had gone through and I had optimized the titles and I had expanded on the Google product categories. So there we have some here which actually say jacket and coats now, shirts and tops, rather than just clothing, which it was before. So there's some optimizations that's gone on there. So let's just run through what we've done so far. So we've assessed the health of each column and identified that I wanted to optimize the titles and the Google product categories. Then we further got rid of any unnecessary columns until we had it to the bare bones of what we were actually using and uploading as our feed. Then, I did this at the start, we used our product ID as the anchor, and then I went through and optimized the attributes, which I did previously, and now we get onto the fun part, which is uploading the supplementary feed to the Google Merchant Center. So, now we have our supplementary feed here. What we're going to do is go back to our Merchant Center, which is bugging a bit, and then we want to go to feeds on the left hand side here, and we want to go to add a supplementary feed here. Now in this section there's a few ways to do it. The only way I do it is with Google Sheets. That's the only way I do it. And what I'm going to do is keep the name exactly the same as my feed, just for good housekeeping. So we're going to have Google Sheets selected there. I'm going to copy and paste the sheet name I used there, and then we're going to use select. What I had there, was you can either generate a new Google Sheet from a template or select an existing Google Sheet template. However, because we exported our columns from the Google Merchant Center, our template was already made, so we don't need to do that. So what we're going to do instead is select our template, and I'm just going to type in some keywords at the top bar here. And there we have the feed which I was working on earlier. And we finally go to export, and then we're going to go to continue, select language, English, select feed label, AU, and then we're going to select create feed, and there we go. But you're not quite done yet. We need to actually select the feed name, and we need to click fetch now. If you don't do that, your feed won't work. Okay, it's a little bit annoying that Google doesn't tell you that in the first place, but make sure you don't forget that step. And then this will show you that the processing report has been successful. We had 82 items and 82 items matched. However, what I want you to do, one final thing just before you're done, is actually go to settings and just double check that this one is enabled. Because if you don't enable the schedule, which fetches this feed daily, it won't update it every single day unless if you're chopping and changing and optimizing your supplementary feed. This is a bit silly how this isn't at the actual start of the whole process or made very clear. In fact, it's not even a button. You know, they don't even highlight it properly. But you've got to make sure you do that and set it to a time. Typically, I do it before I start working, just so it's nice and fresh, and then click save. And then we just want to double check everything's okay. In terms of double checking everything is okay, what I'm going to do is go to this one here and just double check this Google product category has been updated. So I'm going to copy and paste that, go to all products, filter by item ID, and what we're going to do is just click on this product here, go into the settings of it, and what we're going to do is go down to the Google product category, which is right at the bottom here, and we can now see that this Google product category says coats and jackets, which means this is uploaded successfully. The titles which I optimized should have been done the same as well. I hope that video was useful for you guys. As I said, if you're running your own store, that's fantastic. But if you would like to work with us and let us run your own Google Ads account, then please get in contact. The link is in the description, and we could schedule a call to see how we can improve your performance with Google Ads or Facebook Ads or whatever you're running for your e-commerce store. Okay, thank you guys. I'll see you in the next.